Hello and welcome back. I am finally tuning in again to talk to you a little bit about how I am progressing with my organization. So originally my intention was to do one video a week, which would lead me up to today, which is August 20th, and it is my 1-year anniversary on Poshmark. So it's been 1 year since I sold my first item, and I've since sold over 700 pieces on Poshmark, and I plan on doing like a recap of my year and a reflection about my growth and perspective and all that fun stuff. But today I want to go back to my jeans situation and just talk about my efforts to reduce my death pile and talk about the progress that I'm making, basically. So I'm going to start, excuse me, I'm going to start by saying that my goal was to list 300 items by today. And I'm gonna let you know that I've listed 160 items. So I'm less than half of what my goal is. However, I really feel like I've learned a ton about myself over these past few weeks. The jeans, we talked mostly about jeans last time because I wanted to focus each week in the series on like different things that I was going to tackle. So I want to recap the jeans situation. I'm going to insert a video right here and talk a little bit about what's happened with my jeans and a couple other things in my basement if you watched the last video. So I'm going to tune that in right now, and then we will come back and we'll talk a little bit about more results. Love my new system for jeans. The way, if you didn't see my first video, I can just explain quickly that basically these jeans run from left to right, smallest to largest in size. So over here, we're starting with 25s, 26. I obviously have the most size 27, followed by 28. Over here in this pile, I have mixed 29s and 30s, and here 31s and 32 in any plus size jeans. I absolutely love this system. It also helps me when I'm outsourcing to know which sizes I need more of. So clearly on the right where I've doubled up on sizing over here. So these two small piles are everything I have between 29 and 32 plus sizes. So that's something I definitely want to keep an eye out. And in the center there with a ton of 27s and 28s, I just want to make sure that I'm really love the jeans before I pick them up or the price is spectacular. So that's the progress that I have made with the jeans. I also wanted to show you, I don't know if you saw my last video, but my ping pong table was just covered with clothing. That clothing is taken care of. I'm going to talk a little bit in this video about the piles that my daughter gave me. I inherited 4 trash bags of clothing from my daughter in the midst of all this effort to organize and get rid of my death piles. So this is what I'm sending to thread up, I believe. And then I'll talk more about what other things are happening. Here's a box getting ready to go to thread up. And my issue with this is that the box isn't large enough. So I have to update that. I still keep my men's items in here, so you won't see any jeans in my upper pile. So I still have men's jeans in here, and these bins are filled with sweaters, leggings, loungewear, accessories, belts, things like that. And my husband's vintage pinball machine, his pride and joy, is covered with clothing that needs to get processed. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm doing with all this as well. So I am making progress. Just to be transparent, I will show you that this room is still a mess, but I would say that more than half of these items are listed, and I have more to say about that. Things are still pretty messy about here, not gonna lie. However, it's controlled chaos, and I am feeling really good about progress. And I'll talk more about that in my video. So I just wanted to give you a briefing of what things are looking like down here. So some progress. I'm really happy with some of the progress that I am making. And I will say that when I first got started, I was laser focused on getting those jeans listed. So I had about 34 pairs of jeans to get listed, some that I knew of, some that I found in my live inventory, which I discussed in my other video, which I will link below. I'll link below. But anyways, I did end up listing almost all of those jeans. I donated a few pairs. I thought it might be interesting to tell you, I donated a pair of Jag jeans, which were like jeggings that I had listed for almost a year with not a single like. They were cute. They were two-tone black and like indigo blue, but for whatever reason, they weren't moving. I lowered the price, nothing. So anyways, those are gone. I had a pair of Old Navy jeans that were new with tag in like a size 24 that had stains on them. I ended up giving them to the woman who cleans my home. Her daughter was here from Brazil, so I gave her some stuff. I'll talk about that too. I think I donated a pair of Joe's jeans also that had been hemmed and were petites and boot cut. So I think I donated 3 pairs of jeans from that stack. A couple of the items that were in that original stack as well were pants, not jeans, after further evaluation. So one pair were a pair of Prada pants that I have listed, and the other pair were like a soft pair of like velourish feeling pants from the Loft, and I have not listed those yet. So just wanted to give you an update. So that's that on my jeans. So I don't want this to turn into a what sold video. I really want to talk more about what I learned from this process. And I have like 5 takeaways basically as far as the pros go. And then I guess I can talk about the cons straight up. One of the things that I realized quickly was that my sourcing did not slow down at all. And that was a huge goal for me. So in one respect, I didn't achieve that goal because I went sourcing a lot because that's what I love to do. Don't we all as resellers love to source? It's my favorite thing is the hunt. So, but what did change quite a bit was what I chose to take home with me. Because one of the greatest things, and I guess this will start with the number one thing that I feel like I benefited from this process, is that I list what I bring into my home, okay? So every time I went shopping, I probably cut what I would normally purchase in half, just knowing that as soon as I came home, I was going to list it. And the results were really good. So I'm just gonna go over some numbers here. So I said I listed 160 items, so I listed about 30 pairs of jeans and then 130 other items. So here's some honesty. 70 of those 130 items were new items that I have purchased since my organization video first aired, so like a month ago. So it didn't necessarily get into those 300 pieces I was working on. However, they're all listed. So they came through the door and I listed them. Since the video, I have had $562 in sales of just new items. That doesn't include anything from the rest of my closet. So since I started posting, of those 160 new items, I've had $562 in sales just on new product. So definitely listing more and my sales are getting better. That could also be because we are starting Q4. I'm sure that has something to do with it, that it's back to school. The summer slowdown for me is finally weaning away, going away. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So yes, I'm listing stuff as soon as it comes into the house and I'm very proud of that and I'm getting great results. Number 2, one of the things I also decided to do was to officially get more help. I think I've mentioned before that my father is already sharing my closet for me. He's doing a full closet share every morning at about 6 in the morning when he wakes up, or 5:45. It's a very early morning share, but I think it just kicks my closet into gear right away. And I wake up to lots of notifications and often sales, and it's a huge, huge help. And I realize not everybody can do this. It is something that my dad is gracious enough to offer. And I try to pay him and he doesn't take money. Dad, if you're watching, one of these days you gotta be on the payroll. So little things here and there we work out, but generally he's doing it complimentary. So I realize that is a gift. I did hire my neighbor to come down. She's 16 years old. And shortly after my first video, I hired her. She just came down for a day for like 5 hours. I think I paid her $11 or $12 an hour, but she photographed 39 items for me. And they were just those stale items that were on my rack that I was dreading listing. So it was great because she didn't care. She just plowed through them. She did a great job. I definitely had to go back and retake a couple images, but for her first time, she did a wonderful job. And it was really helpful for me to like jumpstart. So of those 39 pieces, I probably listed 30. Some I still have to go back and take a couple more pictures for. So, and lastly, and I know Courtney over at Common Tags has just hired someone to do this thing as well, but my mom has been helping me with packaging. So once I photograph, measure, steam, and list, it goes into a pile. You saw in my little video clip, I end up putting everything either on my ping pong table or on my husband's vintage pinball machine, neither of which is appreciated by my family members, but that's where I end up putting stuff before I fold and put in the little poly mailers that get tucked into the bags to go out. So my mom, we were at the Cape over the weekend, and my mom came over and I left her a huge pile, and she, while she was here watching my dogs and just being amazing, as she always is, folded, I don't know, maybe 40 pieces. So I came home and everything was packaged. So we decided to make it official, and I am going to bring her stuff on a weekly basis, probably on the weekend, so it doesn't affect my shipping as much, and she's going to help me with packaging. So basically I'm sourcing out some of the tasks that aren't my favorite, so that I can do what is my favorite, which is source and research. I love researching when I get home and learning about different brands. So I'm really trying to zone in on what I'm good at and trying to delegate what I can and what I can afford at this point in my business. So the kids are going back to school next week, and I'm really looking to ramp up. So I'm hoping that the things that I have in place will continue to work. And the girl who I hired next door, I'm pretty sure that she'll come back when I need her, as I need her. So she's not going to be here on any regular basis, but it's going to be really nice to be able to just give her a call when I need the help, and to just give me that boost when I need it along the way. So that's one of the other things. So another thing that I benefited from, another benefit from doing this exercise was I'm not overthinking listings. Like sometimes I would just look at a piece and be like, maybe I should put that on eBay, or no one's gonna want this. Why did I buy it? Look at this teeny flaw. Like I'm just not overthinking it. I'm photographing everything on the rack, just one by one by one, going through, and I'm finding some like really nice pieces that I don't know why I haven't touched them. Like I feel like if you leave things in a pile without looking at them for too long, it's like being in my own closet upstairs. I'm sitting on a lot of money up there too, yet I'm not going up there because it's not exciting. And obviously I like the excitement of shopping. So I'm just like, you know, if some certain pieces, I'm like, I should list this for hire. I don't know, whatever it is, I'm just like plowing through it. And I really think that this exercise helped me. I'm a professional at photographing jeans now. Yeah, so I don't overthink things as much. That's another huge benefit of this little exercise that I did. The other thing I want to talk about is that I just learned more efficient ways to do things. Because I knew I was trying to get through so many pieces of my inventory, I just moved faster. I'm not a super fast worker, but this exercise has made me a faster worker. So for example, I used to just do my pieces in batches. I might steam, measure, photograph, do a draft, or maybe even list as I'm standing there taking pictures. And I would get through maybe 3 or 4 items. And that was great when I was trying to list between 3 and 6 items a day. Now I'm trying to list between 10 and 20 items a day. And in order to get that done faster, I'm steaming 10 pieces at once, and then I'm photographing all the pieces. I might edit one picture and maybe do a draft, maybe not. Maybe I'm just recording the measurements. And whatever it is, I'm just moving much faster. So that when I go to sit later and to sit down and do my listings, I have all the information that I need in front of me. And when I sit down to do my listings, they're going much faster than trying to list in the moment. So that is something that has helped me tremendously. When I was doing all the jeans, I learned that photographing like items is very helpful. So maybe you can just take 15 tops and just photograph tops, or 15 pairs of shoes and do your shoes. Whatever it is, when you're photographing like items, for me, it moved much faster. So I feel pretty good. I'm learning all these little tips about myself and how I work. I'm delegating where I need to, and I'm just listing more and I'm selling more. So anyway, I did go to the Goodwill outlet last week. I'm going to film a haul for you. I also want to do a video on my 1 year reflections. So I have a lot of YouTube stuff that needs to come around the bend, but I want to continue with this series. I feel a little bad that I haven't been like on track as far as doing it weekly. And I actually filmed this twice and didn't put it out. I don't know what my stumbling block was. Sometimes with me, the second I give myself a deadline, I get stressed out. So when I knew that I had told everyone that I was gonna do a video a week, I was like a little paralyzed. So I'm not gonna do that this time because I wanna be successful, and I'm just gonna keep on listing. So this week is the one where I'm clearing the rack. I am literally just going through my rack and I'm listing the things without thinking about anything. I'm taking the pictures and I'm getting them listed. Once I get everything listed and my mom's helping me with the packages, I'm gonna know where I fall with my inventory. I may have to expand and get a few more bins as I'm quickly approaching over 1,000 pieces. But I am tackling stuff, and I hope you are too. I hope you think before you shop. When you're out shopping, really look at that piece. Are you excited to go home and photograph it and list it? Because if you're not, for me, sometimes I will just leave it behind now. And rarely do I walk out of a store and say, oh, I wish I had bought that piece. What happens more often is I get home with a pile of things and I think, gosh, I spent $6 on this, or, oh, I didn't look this over carefully and it has a stain, or I don't know. Sometimes I have more remorse with the amount of things I buy as opposed to just being choosy and coming home with like a nice little grouping of items I'm excited to list and sell. So that has been my takeaway over these past 3 weeks. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention, right in the middle of all my organizing, and this definitely stalled me and it's not an excuse, but as I was going through all this, my daughter decided to clean out her closet. And when I say 4 trash bags stuffed to the gills with clothing, and she has nice clothing that I wasn't ready to just donate. So in the middle of all this, I had 4 massive piles. I dumped every bag and I divided them into 4 piles. So one was for donation. One, I gave a whole bag to my cleaning lady, because I know she sends clothes back to Brazil, and her daughter was here, like I mentioned. So I gave 1 bag to Claudia. 1 bag I'm sending to Thread Up with a bunch of just like Charlotte Russe and Forever 21 and items like that. Some H&M stuff, just little items that I just have so much to list that I wasn't like excited to list those unless they were a really unique piece. And then I have 1 bag of items that I'm actually going to list and sell. I think she had 8 or 9 Lululemon pieces in that bag. She was a dancer for many years, so she was getting rid of a lot of her dance wear stuff. I have a bunch of things that I want to list, like leotards and tights that haven't been worn, leg warmers, like warm-up sweaters for ballet, like a ton of that stuff that I want to put on eBay. So that definitely slowed me down. So in the process of trying to move out my inventory, I inherited all this inventory, and that's not a bad thing, but it was a little bit of a roadblock, and it was just more of an awareness for me that I have to keep moving. I have to keep going forward. And you know, one of the things that I have become very comfortable with is listing between 10 and 20 items a day. Like I can do that no problem now. So if I can keep that model moving forward, I should be free of all my excess before I know it. But then again, I know myself and I'm always gonna have excess because I am not a minimalist. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying my kind of series, my follow-up to my first video. But I am working on clearing the rack this week. Still haven't tackled my shoes. I'm not gonna give a date for my next video, but I will continue to put out these videos on staying on top of your inventory. Let me know some tips that work for you. I've really appreciated everybody's feedback. And that's all. I will be back to you this week with a couple more videos. Thank you so much for watching today, and have a wonderful day. And go list some items. You'll be happy you did. Bye.